disregard for human life or indifference to the consequences of that act to try to revive your patient first? And what did Dr. Steinberg say when pushed? What did he say? Okay, you know what? Maybe 2 minutes. You can try to revive your patient, then call 911. He literally chose a time. Not 1 minute. That's okay. 2 minutes. And then after that, it's a felony. Just pulls a number out of his head. 2 minutes. Well, let's look at what Dr. Murray actually did. You see jury instructions in deciding whether a consequence is natural and probable. Consider all the circumstances established by the evidence. It's the same thing with negligence. The circumstances. What did Dr. Murray actually do? He tries to revive Michael Jackson. Tries immediately provides CPR. Immediately. When that doesn't work, he injects him with flumazenil. It's a reversal agent for lorazepam. There is no reversal agent for propofol. Injects him with flumazenil. That doesn't work. He runs down the stairs. We see him is on these stairs. His eyes bulging out. He's frantic. And he tells Kai Chase, help. Get security. Now Kai Chase says, well, he said get security in Prince. I'm going to suggest to you that that's not what he said. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to suggest to you that what Kai Chase actually did was get Prince. And Kai Chase knew, because she told Prince, there's something wrong with your father. She knew. When all that Kai Chase had to do was walk out of that door and go to this trailer where the security was. So you know that Dr. Murray runs downstairs, wants security, and he expects Kai Chase to get exactly that. To get security. It's right there by the kitchen. All she had to do is stick her head out, help. That's it. And remember where we are. This is a 14,000 square foot mansion, 3 stories, nobody allowed upstairs. Security around the perimeter. You heard what Fahim Muhammad said. Nobody gets in, not ambulance, not police, not family, without them going upstairs to check. So what's the time savings from them going upstairs to check versus Dr. Murray come down to get them? It's exactly the same thing. But it's bizarre. And he wants to base it, Mr. Waldron, base it on Kai Chase's timeline, where it just so happens 2 years earlier, she remembers checking her cell phone just right before Dr. Murray came down. Fine. Let's just assume that's what she did. Let's just assume that. By Dr. Steinberg's own expert testimony, 2 minutes, he should have called 911. And this is Richard Seneff's run sheet. This is when they were on the scene, 12:25. This is when he's upstairs, 12:26. So if Dr. Murray had called immediately after finding Michael Jackson, you're still looking at 7 minutes before he got help. And where these experts say that Dr. Murray should have just stood above Michael Jackson and got on the phone, called 911. This 911 call that was transferred from Beverly Hills after 40 seconds and then finally to LA, Los Angeles, was 163 seconds. Now, if Dr. Murray had done that, don't you just know that they'd be up here telling you that that was an extreme deviation from the standard of care? Just know it. Is it warm in here for you, or is it just me? No? Okay.
Well, we should be talking directly, asking for information. Go ahead, please.
They get up here on the stand, Steinberg and Kamendar, and they tell you, Dr. Murray performed substandard CPR. And what do they base it on? Because Dr. Murray gave CPR on the bed. That's it. Since Dr. Murray didn't drag Michael Jackson down on the floor, he therefore did not give him CPR. It was a deviation from the standard of care because he didn't drag him down from the bed. The purpose of CPR, and they agreed with this, the purpose of it is that you would provide compression and ventilation. That's what saves lives. Ventilation has nothing to do with whether Michael Jackson's on the bed. Compression, under these circumstances, with Dr. Murray at 6'5", 240 pounds, one hand behind Michael Jackson's back, and one on top of Michael Jackson's chest, pressing down, do you honestly believe there was insufficient compression? And nobody, by the way, nobody's ever presented any evidence that there was insufficient compression. And yet these experts are willing to get up here and tell you that it was a violation of the standard of care, and there's no evidence of it. This despite the fact that the American Heart Association tells you, you do CPR where you find the patient. But they're willing to get up here and tell you that. Why? Why is it that everything Dr. Murray did, he did wrong things. We told you that. But why is it that every single thing Dr. Murray did has to be a standard deviation from the standard of care? Ask yourself that. They say Dr. Murray provided insufficient ventilation because he didn't use an ambubag. Well, there it is. Well, what's it out for? Mr. Warren says he never said he used an ambubag. There it is. It's not the paramedics they told you. What's it doing out there? And if you listen to the transcript, listen to the tape of the interview with the police, you'll hear Dr. Murray say there was sufficient ventilation. Yes, at some point he did mouth-to-mouth, but that doesn't mean he always did mouth-to-mouth. And in any case, is that a conscious indifference to human life? Why is it that everything is a deviation? Everything's a deviation because Dr. Murray has to go down. Dr. Murray has to go down. And for him to go down, there's got to be a drip. And everybody's on board. All the witnesses are on board. What the prosecution doesn't want to tell you, I'll tell you. It's why in this trial, here's what you saw. You saw witnesses that didn't need to testify. You know why these people that Dr. Murray called or that called Dr. Murray was on the stand? It had nothing to do with the phone records. You know what the deal is with that. You know what it was? 3 witnesses, they showed pictures of the children. There's no relevance on that. It's heartbreaking to see those kids. You know that, and I know that. That's why they showed the pictures. They didn't have to identify the kids.